The envelope that wasn't mine. I wasn't snooping. I swear that's what I told myself as I carried the mail in from the hallway: bills, grocery flyers, one thick cream envelope with my husband's name on it. Ethan Cole. Our address. And a gold-embossed logo I didn't recognize. I set everything on the counter, then froze, because the envelope wasn't sealed. It was tucked. Like someone had opened it and tried to make it look untouched. Inside was a card. Happy 8th anniversary, Ethan and Marisol. Venue, the Willow Ridge Country Club. RSVP, Mrs. Marisol Cole. My stomach did that slow, ugly drop, like an elevator cable snapped. Ethan and I had been married 7 years. We celebrated our anniversary with Thai takeout and a stupid joke about how adulthood is mostly deciding what pan to soak. Marisol wasn't a coworker. I knew his coworkers. Marisol wasn't a cousin, because Ethan has exactly one cousin and she's a man named Craig. I read the card again. And again. Like the ink would rearrange itself into something reasonable. Then I noticed the return address printed on the back. It wasn't just a name. It was a home. A real street, a real number, 23 minutes away. And the worst part? Under the address, in neat black letters, was a second line. Cole Family Residence. I laughed once. A sharp, involuntary sound. Because what else do you do when you're holding proof that your life might be a prop? My hands shook as I grabbed my phone. I typed the address into Maps. The little dot appeared. The route calculated. Then, like the universe wanted to make sure I understood the joke, Ethan texted. Ethan, running late tonight. Don't wait up, red heart. I stared at that heart until it blurred. Then I picked up my keys. Part 2, a drive through someone else's life. I told myself I was going to confirm something. Like I'd pull up to the house and realize it was a venue, or a business office, or Craig's secret second identity as a woman named Marisol. But when I turned onto the street, my denial started peeling off in strips. It was a quiet neighborhood with trimmed hedges and porch lights glowing warm. The kind of place people live entire lives without drama. The address led me to a pale blue house with white shutters. There were toys in the yard. Not old toys. Not a neighbor's kids visited once toys. A tiny plastic slide. A scooter tipped onto the grass. Chalk drawings on the driveway. My lungs forgot how to work. I parked across the street and stared like a burglar afraid of being caught stealing her own sanity. Through the front window I could see a lamp, a framed photo wall, a Christmas garland still half hung even though it wasn't December anymore. The house looked loved. Then the front door opened. A woman stepped out holding a toddler on her hip. She wore an oversized sweater and leggings, hair pulled into a messy knot, the effortless exhaustion of someone who actually lives in her life. She bounced the child, laughing at something I couldn't hear. The toddler reached for her face like he owned it. And then, like my brain wanted to finish me off, another child came running out. A little girl. Maybe 6 or 7. She had Ethan's dark hair. She had Ethan's exact grin. I actually put a hand over my mouth, because I realized I'd made a sound, some tiny animal noise of recognition. The woman turned as if she'd sensed me. For a second, I thought our eyes met. Then a car pulled into the driveway. A familiar car. Ethan's. My vision sharpened so hard it hurt. I watched him step out like a normal husband coming home. He carried a grocery bag in one hand and a small bouquet in the other. The woman's face lit up. The little girl yelled, "Dad." And Ethan, my Ethan, opened his arms. I sat in my car, trapped behind the steering wheel, watching my husband hug another family like he'd never belonged anywhere else. And the thought that hit me wasn't even the most dramatic one. It was simple. How many nights had I gone to sleep alone, because he was tucking them in? Part 3, the moment I became a stranger. I should have driven away. I should have waited, planned, protected myself. Instead, I got out of the car. My feet moved like they didn't need permission. I crossed the street, my heart punching my ribs. Halfway up the sidewalk, the little girl saw me. She stopped. Her smile faded into confusion. Ethan looked up. And the second he saw me, his face emptied. Not surprise. Not guilt. Recognition. Like a man who sees a fire, he started finally reached the house. "Lena," he said, too softly, like if he kept his voice calm I would evaporate. The woman turned. Her brows knitted. "Ethan, who is that?" He didn't answer her. He stared at me like I was a bomb with the pin half out. I swallowed. My throat felt scraped raw. I got a card. An anniversary invitation. The woman shifted the toddler higher on her hip. Anniversary? Ethan took a step toward me, hands out in a soothing gesture I'd seen him use on angry clients. "Lena, not here. Please." "Not here," I repeated, and it came out as a laugh. "Okay. Where? In my kitchen? In our bed? The one you leave to come here?" The woman's face went pale in slow motion. "Ethan, what is she talking about?" He finally looked at her, and that's when I saw it. The panic wasn't about losing me. It was about losing control. "I can explain," he said to her. But he was still talking to me with his eyes, pleading. The little girl tugged the woman's sleeve. "Mom, who's that?" "Mom." That word hit like a slap. The woman, Marisol, stared at me with dawning horror. You're his sister?" I wanted to be. God, I wanted to be anyone else. "I'm his wife," I said. "We've been married 7 years. Marisol's mouth opened, but no sound came out. Then she whispered, "That's not possible." Ethan flinched like she'd struck him. "Mari." She cut him off, voice shaking. "We've been married 8. Silence swelled between us, thick and ugly. Then Marisol looked at me, and her eyes hardened with a truth that made my blood go cold. "Unless," she said slowly, "you're not the wife." Part 4, the proof I didn't want. Marisol didn't scream. She didn't lunge at me. She did something worse. She walked back inside, still holding the toddler, and returned with a binder. A binder. Like this was a budget meeting. She flipped it open on the porch, hands trembling only slightly, and pulled out documents. A marriage certificate. Ethan Cole and Marisol Ramirez. Dated 8 years ago. Stamped. Signed. Real. My knees went weak. No. Ethan and I. Ethan grabbed for the binder. "Mari, stop." Marisol yanked it back. "No. You stop." She turned pages like she'd been preparing for a war she didn't know she'd be drafted into. Mortgage papers. Both their names. Insurance forms. Both their names. A family photo session receipt. Then she held up a picture and I felt my stomach twist. Ethan in a white shirt. Marisol smiling beside him. The little girl sitting on his shoulders. The toddler in Marisol's arms. They looked whole. Marisol's voice cracked. "Tell me you're lying." I fumbled for my phone like it was oxygen. Hands shaking, I pulled up our wedding photos. Our certificate. Our anniversary dinner selfies. The lease agreement with both our names. I held the screen out. Marisol stared, and something inside her seemed to fracture. Ethan's jaw worked, like he was chewing through excuses. "Both of you, please, let's go inside." "Why?" I snapped. So you can lock the door and tell us which one of us gets the truth. Marisol's gaze slid to Ethan, sharp as a blade. Explain. Now. Ethan exhaled, eyes darting to the kids, to the neighbors, to the street. Then he said the sentence that split my life into before and after. I didn't mean for either of you to find out. Marisol made a sound, half sob, half growl. Either? He swallowed. I have 2 marriages, he admitted, voice low. 2 lives. My chest burned. That's illegal. I know, he said. I know. Marisol's hands clenched around the binder. Which one is real? Ethan looked at her first. Then he looked at me. And when he answered, I swear the world tilted. You're both real, he said. But. That single word carried a whole hidden hierarchy. Ethan's eyes settled on Marisol. But Marisol was first. Part 5, backup, was the word that broke me. I don't remember sitting down, but suddenly I was on the porch step, my hands numb, my brain trying to reject language itself. Marisol stared at him like she might actually set him on fire. You're telling me, she said, dangerously calm, that you married another woman while married to me. Ethan ran a hand through his hair. It wasn't like that. It was exactly like that, I whispered. My voice sounded far away. Ethan turned to me, pain flickering across his face, performed pain, like an actor finally getting to his emotional scene. Lena, you were supposed to be safe. Safe. As if I were a savings account. Marisol's eyes narrowed. Safe how? Ethan hesitated, and in that pause I saw every late night, work trip, and every conference weekend, and every time he insisted on keeping our finances simple by handling everything himself. Then he said it. The economy was unstable. My job was shaky. My dad lost everything when I was a kid. I promised myself I'd never be trapped again. Marisol's laugh came out cracked. So you married 2 women? He nodded like it was logical. One life could fail. I needed a second option. I stared at him. You had a backup plan. He flinched. Not a plan. A backup family, Marisol spit, tears finally spilling. Like we're files on a hard drive. The little girl stood on the threshold, watching, frightened. Mom? Marisol's face softened instantly for her child, then hardened again at Ethan. Get them inside. Ethan did, gently, like he was still the good father even while his lies rotted everything around him. When the door shut, Marisol leaned toward me, voice shaking. How long? 7 years, I said. No kids. Marisol's eyes flicked with something, pity? Relief? Guilt, and I hated myself for noticing. I stood, wobbling. We need to call the police. Ethan stepped between us. No. Marisol's head snapped up. Excuse me? Ethan's voice went cold. If you involve the police, both of you lose. This will ruin the kids. It will ruin everything. I laughed, sharp and ugly. You ruined everything. Ethan's gaze locked onto mine. You don't understand. Then he pulled something from his pocket, a second phone, not the one I knew. He unlocked it and showed us a screen full of messages. Photos. Documents. Bank accounts. Names. And one message at the top that made my skin turn to ice. If either wife finds out, initiate contingency. I looked up at Ethan. He didn't look scared anymore. He looked prepared. Part 6, the contingency. Marisol's hands shook. What is that? Ethan tucked the phone away like it was a weapon. A plan to keep everyone safe. Safe, I repeated, tasting the word like poison. From what? From consequences? Ethan's eyes flashed. From people who would take advantage. Marisol stepped closer. Who are you mixed up with, Ethan? He didn't answer. Instead he looked at me, and his voice softened into the tone he used when he wanted me to trust him. Lena, go home. We'll talk tonight. Please. Something about the way he said it made my instinct scream. Because, tonight, was always where Ethan buried things. Tonight, later, soon. A future that never arrived. Marisol's voice broke. Don't send her away. You're not in charge. Ethan's jaw clenched. Marisol. No, she snapped. You don't get to Marisol me. You don't get to husband voice your way out of this. The front door opened a crack. The little girl peeked out, eyes wide. Dad, she whispered. Ethan's face cracked for a second, real emotion, real panic. Go back inside, sweetheart. When the door shut again, Ethan's shoulders slumped. I didn't do this because I don't love you, he said, looking between us. I did it because I couldn't afford to lose. Marisol wiped her face, furious. You couldn't afford to lose, so you gambled with our lives. I felt something shift in me. Not just grief. Anger, clean and bright. I'm going to leave, I said slowly. And I'm going to get a lawyer. Ethan's eyes sharpened. Don't. The single syllable was a warning. I lifted my chin. Or what? Ethan inhaled like he was steadying himself. Then he said, quietly, if you pull this into court, certain people will look into you. Into Marisol. Into the kids. You'll be hurt to punish me. Marisol stared at him. Are you threatening us? Ethan's voice turned miserable. I'm telling you what happens. My fingers curled into fists. Who are these people? Ethan looked away. And in that movement, I saw it, fear. Not of losing us. Fear of someone else. I backed down the porch steps, eyes fixed on him. I'm not going to be managed. Ethan's face tightened. Lena, please. I turned and walked away, legs shaking, refusing to run. But when I reached my car, my phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. Hi, Lena. If you've learned about Marisol, you're now in the timeline. Don't call the police. We can help. M. And underneath it, a photo. A photo of me. Taken from across the street. Just now. Part 7, The Woman Who Knew My Name. I drove home on autopilot. Every red light felt like a trap. Every car behind me felt too close. At home, I locked the door, then locked it again like the second lock could seal out reality. The unknown number sat on my screen like a living thing. M. Who the hell was M? I texted back with shaking thumbs, who are you? 3 dots appeared instantly. M. Someone who cleans up Ethan's messes. M. He doesn't get to choose how this ends anymore. M. Open your email. Search, Cole Holdings. Cole Holdings. Ethan had told me holdings was just a corporate term. He had said it like it meant nothing. I opened my laptop, hands clumsy, and searched my inbox. There it was, emails from a bank I didn't use, statements I'd never opened because Ethan handled all the boring stuff. I clicked one. And the number on the screen made my throat close. Not thousands. Not tens of thousands. 7 figures. Ethan wasn't shaky. He wasn't barely making it. He was building something. And then I saw the company structure document attached. There were names listed under beneficiaries/spousal contingencies. 2 entries. Marisol Cole, primary. Lena Cole, secondary. Primary. Secondary. Like I was a spare tire. My vision blurred with rage so intense it felt clean. My phone buzzed again. You feel it now, don't you? He didn't marry you for love. He married you for risk management. I swallowed bile. Why are you telling me this? Because he's about to make his next move. And you should know, he has a file on you. A file. I heard Ethan's voice in my head, it's just safer if I handle things. My apartment suddenly felt wrong. Too quiet. Too exposed. I went to the closet where Ethan kept his work bag he never let me touch. It was still there. My hands hovered. Then I heard a soft click at the door. Not a knock. A key. My blood iced over. Someone was unlocking my apartment. Part 8, the man I married was a stranger. I didn't think. I moved. I grabbed a heavy ceramic vase from the entry table and stood beside the door, heart hammering so hard I thought it might betray me by sound alone. The lock turned. The door opened. Ethan stepped in. He froze when he saw my face. "Lena," he said softly, like he hadn't just walked into a house full of lies. "Put that down. What are you doing here?" My voice shook, but the vase didn't. Ethan closed the door behind him carefully. Too carefully. "I came to talk." "No," I said. "You came because you realized I'm not obedient enough to stay quiet." His jaw tightened. "You're spiraling." I laughed. "I'm spiraling? I found out I'm your secondary spouse on a company document." Ethan's eyes flicked, just once, toward my laptop on the table. He'd seen it. So he knew I knew. He sighed, like I was a difficult employee. "I didn't want you to see those." "Who is, I demanded. A tiny pause. Ethan's face changed. "They contacted you? Who are they?" Ethan swallowed. "A fixer." "For what?" I stepped forward. "For your fraud? Your bigamy? Your contingency?" Ethan's voice hardened. "You don't understand the situation." "Then explain it," I snapped. "Explain why your life has a manual." Ethan rubbed his forehead. "My father didn't lose everything by accident. He was conned. Destroyed. I grew up watching people smile while they emptied our accounts." His eyes met mine, sharp and haunted. "I built my life so no one could do that to me again." "So you did it first," I whispered. Ethan flinched. "I didn't hurt you." "Not physically," I said. "Just, systematically." His phone buzzed. He glanced at it, and I saw his face drain. He looked at me. "We need to leave. Right now." A chill crawled over my skin. "Why?" Ethan's eyes darted to the window. "Because if is contacting you, it means the timeline has shifted." "The timeline?" I echoed. Ethan moved toward me, urgent. "Pack a bag. No questions. Lena, please." I didn't move. "Tell me what you're afraid of." Ethan's voice dropped to a whisper. "The people my father owed, are the people I've been paying off ever since." Then the lights in my apartment flickered. Once. Twice. And my phone buzzed with a final message from M. "Too late. He came to collect you." Part 9, Marisol wasn't my enemy. I didn't go with Ethan. I don't know what part of me finally woke up, maybe the part that was tired of being secondary in my own life, but I backed away and said, "No." Ethan's face tightened. "Lena." I held up my hand. "Stop. I'm not doing another 'please trust me' scene." Then, because chaos apparently loves escalation, my doorbell rang. Ethan froze. I froze. The bell rang again, insistent. Ethan whispered, "Don't answer." I walked to the peephole anyway. Marisol stood outside. Her eyes were red. Her hair was messy. She looked like someone who'd swallowed a storm and was still standing. I opened the door just enough to see her face. Ethan behind me said, "Mari, what are you doing?" Marisol pushed past the door, gaze locked on Ethan with a fury so focused it looked calm. "I found the other phone," she said. "And I found the folder labeled, Lena, backup." My stomach clenched. Marisol looked at me then, and the hatred I expected wasn't there. Just a tired, brutal clarity. "He's been setting us up," she said. "Both of us." Ethan took a step forward. "Marisol, please." She cut him off. "No. You don't get please." She pulled a flash drive from her pocket. I copied everything. Accounts, messages, the company structure, the contingency plans. Ethan's face went white. "Give me that." Marisol smiled without humor. "Make me." I stared at the flash drive like it was a lifeboat. "Why are you here?" Marisol's voice shook. "Because if he's in trouble, real trouble, he'll sacrifice the secondary wife first." Ethan barked, "That's not true." Marisol's eyes flashed. "Isn't it?" The room went silent. Ethan's gaze flicked to me. And I knew. In that tiny involuntary movement, in that instinctive calculation. I knew he would push me into the fire to save his primary life. Marisol swallowed hard. "We can hate each other later. Right now, we need to survive him." Ethan's voice turned dangerously quiet. "You think you're safe because you have a flash drive? You have no idea who you're playing with." Marisol stepped closer, fearless and shaking. "Then tell us." Ethan stared at us, two women who finally stopped being separate compartments, and something in him cracked. He exhaled. "There's a reason I needed 2 marriages," he said. "And it wasn't love." He looked at me. "It was coverage." Then he looked at Marisol. "And one of you is about to be taken as payment." Part 10, I chose to burn the script. Marisol and I didn't scream. We didn't collapse. We didn't do what Ethan expected. We looked at each other. And in that look, we made a decision without speaking. No more separate lives. No more being managed. No more letting him narrate reality. Marisol held the flash drive out to me. "Do you have anyone? Family?" "My sister," I said. "She lives across town." Marisol nodded once. "Good. We go there." Ethan stepped into our path. "You can't take that." Marisol's voice turned cold. "Watch us." He grabbed her wrist. I moved before I could think. I swung the ceramic vase, not at his head, not like the movies, just hard into his forearm. He yelped and released her, shock splashing across his face. I stared at him, panting. "Don't touch her." Ethan's eyes widened like he couldn't believe I'd broken character. Marisol grabbed my hand. "Now." We ran. Down the hall, out the building, into the cold air that felt like the first honest thing all day. In the car, Marisol was shaking so hard she could barely buckle her seatbelt. I started driving. My phone buzzed again. Unknown number. Good. You're choosing the correct branch. Do not go to police. Do not go home. You have 90 minutes before Ethan's creditors realize he lost control. Marisol stared at the message when I showed her. "So it's real." I nodded, throat tight. And he was going to hand me over. Marisol's eyes filled again, but this time the tears didn't make her weak. They made her furious. At the next light, she said, voice steadying, hand me your phone. What? She wiped her face. If he wrote the script, we change the ending. At the red light, she opened my contacts, found Ethan Redhart, and typed with shaking precision. Marisol, we have everything. If you come near us, the files go public. And I'm telling your people, you tried to pay with the wrong wife. She hit send. Then she looked at me. We're not his main wives, she said softly. We're his insurance policies. I swallowed. So what are we now? Marisol stared out the windshield, jaw set. Now, she said, we're the claim. And as the light turned green, my phone buzzed one more time. A reply from Ethan. Just 4 words. Ethan, you just killed me. I didn't know if he meant metaphorically. Or if, finally, his contingency had turned on him. But for the first time in 7 years, I wasn't waiting up.